Hello everybody and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Video Clips. And I have a couple of really interesting news pieces to share with you, but before we start, a couple things I need to remind you of. First of all, this Wednesday we're posting on the members site a video with our athletic trainer Chris Dorka, training guidelines for the student athlete. Everybody's getting their kids back in school right now. Kids are getting back engaged in sports, and there's a lot that kids can do to make themselves more competitive and more athletic. So I think this video will be really interesting to a lot of our families with student athletes. Fall semester starts in just a couple weeks at the Wellness Farm Institute. In addition to the basic science classes, we're also offering classes on gastrointestinal health, sports nutrition, herbal nutrition, herbal medicine, nutrition and cancer, lots of amazing classes that you can take through our institute. The next Food Over Medicine certification class starts in just a couple of weeks, so if you're interested in getting some credentials and teaching people about diet and health, you want to sign up. And then I'm doing a business training course for health professionals and starting another mentoring group. So that's a whole lot of stuff, and rather than take up a lot of time to tell you all about it, let me just encourage you to call our office and have a discussion with our staff about some of these phenomenal options and how they might benefit you. Okay, so let's get right to the news. And the theme for today's broadcast is really that consumers are starting to wake up and make some good decisions. And I'll tell you about two examples here. One is, according to a new survey, health practitioners are ignoring research studies showing that omega-3 supplements are useless and potentially harmful and continuing to recommend them to patients. Now you might think, well, what's good about that? Well, what's good about it is, in spite of that fact, the sales of omega-3 supplements are going down. Yay! Okay, so let me give you some background on that. This was determined through a survey. Most of the people surveyed were holistic and integrative practitioners, 95% of whom said they recommended omega-3 supplements to their patients. The survey showed that omega-3 supplements were the most commonly recommended supplement. 35% of practitioners said they always recommend them. 53% said they recommend them frequently. Most common reasons were for heart health, cognitive function, mood, reducing inflammation, joint health, general well-being, and maternal fetal health. And believe me, if you do some research, there is not much evidence suggesting that they work for any of those things that I just listed. The survey was funded by a fish oil supplier in Norway, and a company spokesperson, Becky Wright, said the survey showed that health providers were less influenced than consumers by negative information about omega-3 supplements. I mean, think about that for a minute. It's really kind of sad. She says that while this is reassuring to the supplement makers, the industry has already experienced a decline in sales, and she says the meteoric growth that omega-3 supplements have experienced is basically over. And so I'm encouraged by this. First of all, I want to point out that this is an example of how all health providers tend to get invested in ideas. Those who are in alternative and integrative practice just as much as traditional practice, they just get attached to different stuff. Doesn't much matter what the evidence says, they just kind of hang on to their ideas about what they want to do and keep doing it. But fortunately, consumers are learning how to just say no. So sales are off in spite of the unbridled enthusiasm practitioners still have for fish oil. And now this is an even better story, because while we can all get discouraged about the way Americans eat as a whole, that it is awful, and our health status and the cost of healthcare, etc., the dairy industry is starting to suffer a little bit. Now, the dairy industry has a huge marketing budget that is funded in part by tax dollars and supported by the power of the USDA. But sales of cow's milk are falling, sales of plant milk going up. Yay for our side. Now, this story comes from a story covering Dean Foods, which is the country's largest milk processor. And until just a year ago, they owned Silk, which makes soy milk and some related products like soy yogurt. And they also owned an organic dairy producer called Horizon. Now, Dean combined the two companies and then sold it off. The combined company was called WhiteWave. And since that time, stock in WhiteWave has gone up 62%. Dean's stock has dropped 17%. And WhiteWave's current market value is 3 times the value of Dean's. Now, Dean's business is primarily focused in the United States, where sales are falling. Where we see sales increasing is in, for example, Asian countries. Well, White Wave's not the only one that's benefiting from this new interest in plant milk. Blue Diamond Growers, which makes plant milk, is also growing quickly. Now, the dairy industry is not going to go down with a fight. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and they've had it to themselves for a good long time. So the first thing that they've done, the Milk Processor Education Program discontinued their Got Milk campaign. This is where you saw the celebrities and officials with milk mustaches and all that sort of thing. And now they are promoting a new campaign. They're going to put $50 million into it this year called Milk Life. And this promotes milk as a high-protein food, capitalizing on all the interest that we have now in this country on high-protein diets, paleo diets, et cetera, et cetera. Dean's plan for survival is related to this. They plan to focus on flavored milks and protein drinks, which are popular. And they have a tremendous product that's doing really well for them called TrueMoo Protein Plus, a flavored milk product with 25 grams of protein per 14-ounce serving. So what they're basically doing is taking a high-protein food and fortifying it with even more protein. Now, in spite of this fact it's an awful product, it generated $650 million in sales through retail establishments and schools in 2013. But here's the good news in all of this. In spite of the enormous marketing budgets for the omega-3 folks, the dairy folks, in spite of the fact that you've got so many health professionals talking about paleo diets and high-fat diets and eating more animal food, sales are going down for the bad guys, and they're going up for the good guys. And so even though it's just a minor shift, I think we'll see more of this in the future. And we should just all take a minute, congratulate ourselves, and get fired up to go tell more people this great story we have about how to achieve and maintain optimal health while staying away from milk and omega-3 supplements and protein and fat and eating a plant-based diet. All right, that's all for today. As usual, pass this on to anybody who you think might enjoy watching it, and I will be back to you again on Thursday.